How many times do you turn on the news and you think, oh, here comes another bad story? Well, what a great opportunity to not tell good stories, but great stories about amazing people.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Anytime.
It was a miracle.
My training just kicked in from the Marine Corps and the Police Academy.
Proud of you, man.
Thank you, sir.
I came to this realization a couple of years ago that I am so much happier covering college and high school sports. And almost always their stories are just as compelling as anyone that has made it to the highest level of any given sport.
That's like the best thing that's happened to us all year.
I don't know why, but I loved him as a person because he got more heart than anybody.
That's the dream of a lifetime.
I see it as a way of inspiring other people. I get to tell stories about people doing good things in the community.
There are so many people all across our area that are making an impact on all of our lives by doing the simplest act.
The kids at the school might love this teacher, but you might never hear about them. And I get the opportunity to tell you about them.
What more could you want?
I just can't believe this.
It was really cool.
You did it.
You have to love what you did.
She's a different kind of strong.
This is my life.
I believe if all of us gave a little something, wow, how we could impact this world.
You commit to anything, you could accomplish it.
Appreciate you very much. Thank you for sharing it.
Several people just yell out the window, I love you!
We need all the love we can get in this day and age.
Welcome to a CBS 6 original storytelling special presentation.
We were so surprised to hear about Mike Mason. Mike Mason was an executive director with the FBI. We're talking about number 4 on the FBI food chain. This guy should have been on a golf course. He should have been fishing. But instead, he got in a bus driver's seat. And he was picking up and taking kids to school in Chesterfield County simply because there was a need. And that just kind of shows you the kind of people that we have in our community. They have such huge hearts. And man, who else would you want taking care of your kids, taking them to and from school, than a former FBI director?
Before we start up the bus each morning, we do what's called a pre-inspection.
Michael Mason will tell you, if you're going to do something, do it right.
The thing that we want to primarily assure is that every kid is going to be safe on this bus.
Maybe it's a lesson he learned as a Marine Corps officer.
I'm checking wiring. I want to make sure nothing's frayed, nothing's pulled apart.
Or maybe lessons learned during his time as Executive Assistant Director of the FBI.
So about half of the FBI fell under me, and I was, just for context, I was 4th on the FBI's food chain.
When most men his age would be playing golf or fishing, enjoying retirement, Mr. Mason is driving a school bus.
I've done some important things, but guess what? This is important too.
He was watching CBS 6 This Morning recently when he heard Chesterfield County was in desperate need of school bus drivers.
When the pandemic struck, Rob, there were so many people that were doing so many extra things. People like you who still have to get out here. People like grocery workers, people like telecommunications workers, all kinds of folks who still had to do their job. And I felt like I could be doing something to help in this post-pandemic recovery.
Chesterfield County was so impressed with his commitment to community that they featured him in this YouTube video. He's just hoping to be an inspiration for others to get involved.
Doing whatever they can do. I believe if all of us gave a little something, wow, how we could impact this world, how we could change this world.
But in changing the world, Mr. Mason is going to do it right.
I'm probably one of the few bus drivers who has turtle wax in his kit back there, because my hood was so oxidized, I said, oh, no, I can't do that. So I am what I am.
What he is a new bus driver. Building community, building better minds.
The original plan was for Sepp to carry the ball against Verina for only a few yards before being tackled by two-hand touch.
I looked in his eyes. Like when he was running, I was just looking at him and I was just clapping him on. Like the feeling, I just wanted him to score. Like I knew it would be a good feeling for him.
The story we did with Sepp Shirey, the Atlee football player with cerebral palsy that scored a touchdown. Everybody and their brother saw the video of him running 60 yards for a touchdown. What I didn't know until a day or two later was how that happened. Because in the original version of all that, Sepp was going to get in the game and he was only supposed to run about 10 yards. But it was the opponents that saw a determination on his face in just those 10 yards, and they said, in an instant, these teenage kids said, wait, let's see how far he can go. And the opponents actually started cheering him on. Sepp had no idea that he was going to run all the way to the finish line. It's the furthest he's ever run in his life. And he almost didn't make it. He almost tripped himself a couple of times because his legs got tired. But it was because his opponents had a belief in him and saw his determination that he was able to go all the way and go further than even he thought he would go. That story kind of surprised us because everybody saw the video and saw what he did, but nobody found out how he was able to do that.
Come on, Murph.
Like most American teenage boys, Sepp Shairy's love of football came at a very early age and never left.
When I was 6, I got Madden for Christmas on the Wii, and I just played it a lot and really got me into football. I would watch it more on TV, I would play it more, it just kind of piqued my interest.
And it wasn't long before the sport did more than just hold his attention. It started to inspire him to do things he had never done before. Born with cerebral palsy, football was the vehicle that connected Sepp with his friends and pushed him to push himself.
They said, Mr. Shirey, come outside quick, Sepp's walking, and I walked out front and he was taking steps. He had ditched his walker and he was walking in the front yard chasing somebody carrying a football.
Football also helped Sepp meet one of his childhood idols. Tim Tebow came to a football camp at William & Mary that Sepp attended, and the two have remained in contact through Tebow's Wish 15 Foundation. That's part of the reason Sepp wears that number today.
A guy that, even his achievements aside, just I admired for the way that he does things. You know, his spirit, his effort, you know, how much he cares about the game. It was really just, it was surreal.
Shairy has now taken a page from his idol's playbook in inspirational moments. As the minutes wound down during Atlee's senior night and with the game no longer in doubt, head coach Matt Gray decided that Sepp, who has appeared in games before, should also have one last moment on his home field. But he got very little notice.
Not until about 30 seconds before I went out there.
As much as I'd like to tell you it was like this preconceived idea and, you know, we had this huge elaborate plan, it was really one of those things that, you know, right now is probably the right time. Let's go, let's do it.
The original plan was for Sepp to carry the ball against Verina for only a few yards before being tackled by two-hand touch.
However, my dad kind of overheard that plan and was saying, no, let him hit, you know, let them hit him.
Gee, thanks, Dad.
Well, I mean, he knows that's what I would say.
But even that idea, unbeknownst to almost everyone on and off the field, was scrapped just a few steps into Sepp's run. The game had been full of trash talk back and forth until Sepp started moving and caught the attention of one defender in particular.
I looked in his eyes. Like when he was running, I was just looking at him and I was just clapping him on. Like the feeling, I just wanted him to score. Like I knew it would be a good feeling for him.
Verina defender Tayshawn Crutchfield told his teammates to let Shairy go as far as he could, and that is exactly what happened.
I looked pretty consistent throughout the run, but there was about 3 times where I was this close to just going over. But yeah, and once I got to about the 20, I just had no energy left really in my legs.
80 yards, furthest you've ever run in your life?
Absolutely. I mean, for a run, yes. I've maybe walked farther distances, but definitely not at that speed.
Did you surprise yourself?
I definitely surprised myself.
I was like, dang, like is this really going on? Like, and I could feel it. Like inside, I felt it. Like it was like I don't know why, but I loved him as a person because he got more heart than anybody.
And I look back at his dad, and his dad is like teared up, and he comes and gives me a big, big hug, and it was just, you know, our kids, the way that, I mean, that's like the best thing that's happened to us all year, you know, and what a powerful moment.
I turned and look at our coaching staff and our players. I know there weren't many dry eyes in that stadium, but to watch our kids make that decision and to cheer them on, to escort them in that end zone, knowing that that's the dream of a lifetime. You know, it meant everything.
Once I collapsed in the end zone, a bunch of their players were, along with my teammates, were right there to help me up. And that really struck me as like, wow. Like, that's like really cool. But the fact that I fulfilled a dream that I've had forever of scoring a touchdown, of crossing the goal line, I mean, it was incredible.
It was a miracle seeing him standing there already waist deep in the water and heading my direction. It was a miracle.
I want them to see themselves the way that I see them, as wonderful, valuable, beautiful human beings.
They are senior pictures of a different sort from the 1500s.
When you get to be the fly on the wall and you're able to be there when these moments happen, it's just this incredible feeling and privilege that you're there. And to see those two come together and to realize without one, the other would not be there. I mean, it's just this incredible moment. And, you know, I'm just proud that I'm allowed to be able to be there and tell stories like this and be a part of them in my own way, you know, just to be standing back and watching those two interact. It was wonderful.
Well, you made it.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Anytime.
Seeing each other for the first time.
My name's Chris, by the way.
Mike.
Mike.
Since the rescue last Monday.
It was a total miracle. There was no getting around it.
It was last Monday afternoon. Chief Warrant Officer 3 Chris Mizerlian surprisingly wasn't in the mood to fish, but after class at Fort Lee,
Grabbed my fishing stuff and went fishing.
he arrived here to find a crowd.
There was multiple people along the bank fishing.
Changing his mind to come fishing, Chris arrived missing something.
And I'm supposed to be wearing hearing aids. I wasn't wearing my hearing aids.
So he was surprised to see.
Seeing a boat in the middle of the river with nobody in it is probably not a good thing.
And then
I thought I heard, you know, a cry for help.
So he takes a brisk walk.
Once I got closer, I definitely heard somebody holler for help.
About 30 minutes before.
When I reached back for the anchor rope, it just went right on over.
And in the river, Mike stayed, clinging to the boat for more than a half hour.
I got ready to turn loose a few times, just couldn't do it.
Then, in the midst of despair,
And the first thing that happens is I sink past my knees in some real sticky mud.
Mike has a glimpse of hope.
It was a miracle seeing him standing there already waist deep in the water and heading my direction. It was a miracle.
Chris makes it to the boat and makes another discovery.
I noticed he was on oxygen, so I asked if he was breathing fine.
Once on shore, EMS was tasked with trying to warm Mike up to prevent hypothermia.
Finally got a temperature on me in the ambulance. It was 94.2.
Mike Goodwin says this is not going to stop him from fishing, but he says for the next couple of weeks, at least he'll be fishing from the shore.
There is an art director and activities coordinator at a local senior facility, and she comes up with these wonderful ideas. And it's not just finger painting and model making that she's doing with these seniors. She came up with this great idea. What she wanted to do is invite the seniors who were in their 80s and 90s to time travel.
Ooh, that's a great one. Look at that. That's beautiful.
Brushes and bold colors.
And I'll hold this end while you press down that end.
Standard supplies for most art studios.
Beautiful. Look at that print. That's a great print.
But what you won't find in Caroline Shelnut's workshop, paint by numbers.
So I get paid to make artsy messes all day long.
The creative arts coordinator at the Hermitage Retirement Center broadens her students' canvases.
Things can get stale pretty quickly if I don't think outside of the box.
On this day,
All right.
the seniors are channeling their inner Andy Warhol.
Look at that gorgeous flower print.
I like it.
Mm-hmm.
I do.
But this summer, Caroline is developing a new approach,
All right. Have a seat.
the likes of which haven't been seen
Oh yes, very fancy.
in 600 years.
Who's that dude there?
That is Rembrandt. I'm having so much fun.
Caroline and the residents like Alfred Blake
You look very much of the time period 3.
are time traveling,
So this is the Renaissance Photo Project.
photographing seniors to mimic classic paintings of the 16th century.
So very stately looking. Perfect.
You want to give you a little to be or not to be, that is the question.
Yes.
Her portraits look so authentic.
Beautiful.
They would make Da Vinci
That's right.
Do a double take.
It's sort of a break away from the daily. You know, it's something different, something fun.
No expensive costumes here, just curtains, tablecloths, and thrift store treasures.
This is somebody's David's bridal prom dress.
Mr. Blake is looking forward to going back.
Always game. I mean, if you don't try it, you don't experience it.
The finished photos has the Hermitage buzzing.
Some of the time they surprise themselves. You know, a lot of residents, when I showed them their finished product, they were like, that's not me.
But I kind of like gold.
Let's do gold.
Anne Hanshy wants her portrait taken
Channel that mischievous look now.
for posterity and positivity.
And we need to have fun here, especially in this pandemic where a lot of people are depressed. So we need as much joy as we can get.
The 81-year-old says Caroline
Oh, that's perfect, Anne. You see, you're a natural.
always keeps residents' best interest in focus.
You look like a Renaissance lady.
I trust her a lot, and I know she wouldn't do anything to make me look foolish.
I love it. I can get teary-eyed over it, actually. It's great that I was able to help them see how beautiful they are.
I look like the Queen of England.
Betty Davis isn't missing her chance to be framed.
Do I need lipstick?
No, you look wonderful without it.
Even at the tender age of 85,
Lips together, chin up just a hair.
Miss Betty still enjoys playing dress-up.
It's fun. I feel like a little girl.
Caroline has snapped more than 30 Renaissance residents so far.
They really got into the role, and the transformation, I think, was pretty great. It was pretty astounding.
Portraits,
Of course.
worthy of the VMFA.
Aren't you going to hang mine there?
They are senior pictures of a different sort from the 1500s.
I think it's great. It allows me to fantasize a little bit.
Each one a 21st century masterpiece.
I want them to see themselves the way that I see them, as wonderful, valuable, beautiful human beings.
I saw the clock and I thought, just get to the finish line. So just like everything I had left in the tank, I was just running on empty. Just to see that clock and just think, oh my goodness, because like it wasn't an easy path. And so just to see that and just cross the line, that was, it was really cool.
You can do any kind of a story on a local athlete that's going to an Olympic qualifier. We have a lot of those. We've been blessed in this area. Not all of them are a mother of two that really only got back into running just to get back into shape. She's running better now than she ever did as a 21-year-old. It's proof that it can happen, and it's proof that you never really know what you're going to be able to accomplish until you get off the couch and actually give it a shot.
Kira D'Amato has felt awful all week.
Last few days, I felt like trash, like a garbage truck like has run me over.
This is going to be an American record. But that's only because she ran over the course at the Houston Marathon on Sunday and set an American record in the process. With the help of two other runners that kept her on that record pace, D'Amato finished in 2 hours, 19 minutes, and 12 seconds, shaving 24 seconds off the previous record set 16 years ago.
There were so many things out of my control that, you know, if things didn't align, I wouldn't have gotten the record that day. You know, I just tried to hang on as long as I could, and it didn't feel easy. And in fact, like during the race, like I really doubted if it was going to happen for me on Sunday or not.
Her Sunday time was some 15 minutes faster than she ran in the Olympic trials in Atlanta nearly 2 years ago, a result that initially gave her the confidence to intensify her training, making Sunday's achievement possible.
That race didn't come easy for me, which makes me like even more proud sitting here today to say that like I did it, you know, and I fought for like every step, every mile, every whatever. Like it really, like it took everything I had that day to be able to cross the line.
Still, over the course of 26 miles, it's not easy to make sure a runner is on a record pace. Her husband and coach gave indications with their shouts of excited encouragement, but Kira didn't fully know what she had accomplished until the last 100 meters, when the finish line and clock came into view.
I saw the clock and I thought, this is gonna happen for me today. Like, But then I was like, but I gotta finish, just get to the finish line. So just like everything I had left in the tank, I was just running on empty. Just to see that clock and just think, oh my goodness, because like there's been a lot of downs along the way. There was a lot of doubts along the way. Like there was just like, it wasn't an easy path. And so just to see that and just cross the line, that was, it was really cool.
Once she got to her phone, there were hundreds of messages, everyone from professional contacts to elementary school friends. And 2 others, keenly aware of what she had accomplished, left words of encouragement and congratulations.
Right after I finished, the previous marathon holder, Dina Castor, she called and she just said that Joan Benoit Samuelson, who won the gold medal in the 1984 Olympics, called her the day that she broke Joan's record and passed the torch and said congratulations. So she said, this is a tradition, and now I'm officially passing the torch to you, and congratulations.
I keep checking it to make sure that that's what I ran. I just can't believe this. I'm really tired, but I'm really, really happy.
They all pale in comparison to the first person who met her at the finish. D'Amato's first-grade son and his handmade sign were just yards beyond the finish line. Both of her children have watched from home during COVID, but this time had a front-row seat to watch Mom do something no American woman had ever done before.
It didn't matter if I won or lost that day, or if I was dead last, or if I couldn't even finish. Like, that kid really loves me, And I think that that's made me such a strong runner and taken the pressure off just because my perspective has changed. And hopefully she can see that, like, the sky's the limit, Like, we can do anything. Like, women are resilient and we're powerful. And it's just really, I don't know, it's just really cool that my daughter got to be part of that and see that.
I'm a fan. I'm like a big fan of Megan. I saw her playing at Monacan High School and I was like, that girl is so smooth. So I had to kind of like calm myself. No, I'm just joking. I didn't. But I was really excited to meet her. She's a super sweet person. And she is, that makes it even better because she's really good, but she's not arrogant. So it was really cool to meet her and talk basketball, shoot around even. One time, my first time, I think I met her on the court, we shot around. She's really good. And that was one of my most memorable moments because she's so cool.
Take a glance around Monacan High School's gym and you'll see signs that an exceptional athlete once played here. Megan Walker has been putting in the work to be the best since about the first time she picked up a ball.
People just don't have to work as hard as other people, but everything I got, I work for.
Focused, Megan, also known as Megatron.
Megatron, what is your favorite thing about defense?
Is to shut down the opposing team's best player.
Knows how to make an impact.
I like to contribute to my team and dominate on the court.
Megan helped lead the Chiefs to 3 state championships.
I love playing basketball, so every chance I got, I wanted to go to the gym and get better. I fell in love with the process.
She graduated as the nation's top recruit, earning a spot on the University of Connecticut's women's basketball team, the most successful women's program in the country.
If you're going to school with all Americans, every single person beside you is number 1 or 2 recruit.
It was in college the standout athlete realized she still had a lot to learn.
I didn't really understand how to work hard, to be honest. I didn't understand that. So learning how to compete and learning how to compete at the highest level made me into the competitor I am today.
Some of her lessons came from basketball legends.
That was just a moment I'll never forget, shaking his hand, just picking his brain on certain things. Even to this day, I still have this tattoo. Just a little tribute.
By her junior year, Megan became the American Athletic Conference Player of the Year, and her team went undefeated in conference play.
Stripped away and stolen again by UConn.
But there was no March Madness in 2020. COVID-19 canceled the big dance. And Megan surprised her fans with a major decision.
The 9th overall pick, the New York Liberty.
She left the Huskies and entered the WNBA draft.
The New York Liberty select Megan Walker from the University of Connecticut.
Her first year in the big league was as unpredictable as the pandemic.
Inside the lane, puts it in.
Before ever playing a game, she tested positive for COVID and spent several weeks in quarantine, missing the first part of the season.
So I arrived late.
To Walker. Walker attacks baseline.
When it was over, she moved to Hungary to play.
It's like the best league in Europe. So that was like a huge opportunity for me to get my feet back under me and get ready for this coming season.
While readjusting overseas, Megan was traded to the Phoenix Mercury.
So I was anxious, I was nervous, like always like worried, like I want to hurry up and get to Phoenix, but I still have a job at hand that I have to finish. So that was like the most complicated part about the trade. But once I got there, I just was myself and everything clicked.
Here's Walker stepping into a three.
It's good. I love it. I love it out there. I wouldn't want to be anywhere else. My dreams really came true.
Thank you so much.
With all of her impressive lifetime goals achieved well before the age of 25.
Cookies, cookies.
The pro athlete is now helping others have a better shot at the game.
That's the goal.
Back in her high school gym, where her accolades hang high,
I always wanted to do a camp.
Megan held the first of what she says will be many summer camps with the help of her longtime skills and development coach, David Anderson.
The kids be able to touch somebody and talk to them, say, hey, I know her. I talk to her and she's interacting with all the kids. It inspires them to want to be like her.
The camp sold out in its first year, with the next generation of superstars learning from the best.
Lift up in the corner. When they come off the screen, lift up. Look, roll hard.
It's my first time meeting someone from a WNBA.
Little athletes eager to follow in Megan's footsteps.
I want to make it to WNBA. I want to go to the NBA.
Still determined as ever, Megatron is putting in the work. But this time, she added a new goal.
I want to inspire. That's like my whole purpose in life, is to inspire the youth.
And the two of them have, I think, just developed a bond just from walking around together, and it just looked like a cute little pair.
Just have a good time being little kids.
CBS 6 cameras are rolling when Officer Majors learns the impact of his decision to use a tourniquet.
Your actions is the reason why that young man is still alive today.
So I got an opportunity to go out to Moss Knuckles Elementary School in Louisa, and I was simply going to do a story about a school resource officer, because that's really big in the news right now, is keeping kids safe, right? But when I got there, I found out that he had garnered a special relationship with one student who was on the spectrum and was very guarded. It was very hard for him to come out of his shell. But for some reason, he took a shine to this resource officer and did the rounds with him every day. And they became the best of friends. Every day, they would walk every single hallway, do the entire perimeter of the school. He would help when the buses came and when the buses left. And to see this young kid kind of come out of his shell a little bit. And the best part about it, the school resource officer, he said he got a new friend out of it, and over the year, he also lost 20 pounds.
The school year is slowing down, but Deputy Leinhard Anderson will tell you things were moving pretty fast at Moss Knuckles Elementary this year.
Well, actually, it was kind of like an accident. Hey, Austin.
At the beginning of the school year,
you ready to go for a walk?
A teacher stopped Deputy Anderson in the hallway
and said that she had a little boy that didn't like loud noise, and her class was unusually loud that day, and asked if I would take him for a walk to get a break. And I'm like, sure, I'll help the little fella out.
And the two of them have, I think, just developed a bond just from walking around together, and it just looked like a cute little pair.
Every day.
You having fun today?
Austin and Deputy Anderson make the rounds.
Hello, Miss Jackson.
Up and down hallways, sauntering down Success Street, in and out of offices, classrooms, and the cafeteria, and seeing things you couldn't imagine.
We'll go outside on the playground and chase dinosaurs and be chased by zombies. I mean, just have a good time being little kids.
It may sound like fun and games, but for Austin, who's on the autism spectrum and mostly nonverbal, it's a step in a good direction.
He speaks more and more to me as the years progressed. He's very funny. He tells a lot of jokes. I don't always get them, but I know he has fun with them.
You can actually see a change in both of them.
Deputy Anderson, he said he's been a help to him. He said he's lost weight from doing this with Austin.
We would walk until we got tired of walking, which he never gets tired of walking.
I like the shoes.
Just a few more strolls left until summer. But they'll be back together next year. building a friendship that's building better minds.
We're not supposed to be part of the story, but it is so much fun when you're there as the story is unfolding. And to be standing there and realize that the officer I'm interviewing doesn't really know what the chief knows. And I'm like, hey, chief, go tell him. And the chief's like, the hospital called, and there's no doubt you saved this 14-year-old's life.
And you could tell that he had been shot in the leg, and the blood is just pouring out of his legs.
When Officer Michael Majors bends down to speak to the 14-year-old shooting victim,
he looks right at me, says, hey, I don't want to die.
The young officer then reaches down on his holster and grabs this.
My training just kicked in from the Marine Corps and the police academy. Just took my tourniquet off from my holster, put it on this leg.
The two high school students, 14 and 15 years old, shot just minutes after getting off the school bus here at Lincoln Street and Augusta Avenue. The shooter got away. Thursday morning, CBS 6 cameras are rolling when Officer Majors learns the impact of his decision to use a tourniquet.
Received a phone call from hospital staff that because of your actions on that day and applying that tourniquet, your actions is the reason why that young man is still alive today.
Chief Christian, on scene Monday afternoon, had spotted the tourniquet on the 14-year-old's leg. The tourniquet, not something issued by the department, not carried by every officer. In this case, paid for by Officer Majors himself.
That says a lot for the officers. It says a lot for the caliber of officers that we have here in our city.
Seconds after applying the tourniquet, the bleeding slows and stops.
Blood comes spurting out, gets into my uniform pants, but that's the price you pay for saving a life.
Now Chief Christian,
proud of you, man.
Thanks, sir.
Is investigating the cost of putting a tourniquet on the holster of every on-duty officer.
Whatever the cost may be, it's going to be important enough for us to have it as a tool that we use here in the city to save a life.
The handful of people that do see it, it makes a difference to them.
Thank you for spreading love, something that we all need to do.
I've had several people just yell out the window, I love you! And I'll yell back, I love you too!
Why not me? Because if anybody's strong enough that can handle this, it's me.
She's a different type of person. She's a different kind of strong.
I think everyone realizes we live in a time where there's just this dissension everywhere. There's all this stuff happening. And sometimes it's just sitting at a stop sign and looking across the road and reading this simple sentence. And it just takes all the other stuff away. Here at the stop sign where Woods Edge Road ends and where it meets Ramblewood Drive is a very busy T intersection. It's also where
to share some joy, some happiness.
You have just enough time
Plant positive seeds.
to read this sign.
I love you. You're probably thinking you don't even know me, but if people can hate for no reason, I can love.
The person who made the sign,
I am Tina Walls.
whose house sits directly across from the stop sign.
I just thought it would be nice to spread a little cheer.
The inspiration for the sign, Tina says, came naturally.
Because there is so much darkness in the world nowadays, and if you listen to all the negative, you'll get brought down.
So in early January,
So my husband went back there and found a sheet of plywood, because nobody wants to buy plywood right now. And I thought, okay, what do I want to do with this? And I thought, well, let me go ahead and do, I don't know, maybe like a hippie vibe kind of thing, you know, a tie-dye thing.
it wasn't long before the sign was up. And drivers
I really love that.
were definitely taking notice.
I think it's a beautiful sign, and I would have to agree with it.
It's just nice to know that, you know, that you are loved and that people actually do care about you, and it's important to know that you are important in this world.
I think it's pretty nice. I mean, they seem like they care about people. That's what I get it from it, you know.
And while some don't take the time to stop or read the sign, Tina has faith the sign's message is making a difference.
The handful of people that do see it, it makes a difference to them.
This driver agrees.
I appreciate you very much. Thank you for sharing it. Thank you for spreading love, something that we all need to do. I spread peace as well, so I love it. Thank you very much.
I love you.
And when Tina is in her front yard, drivers aren't afraid to speak to her.
Now, I've had several people just yell out the window, "I love you!" And I'll yell back, "I love you too!" So.
This isn't the first sign Tina has put up. In 2021, she had a pallet here with the phrase,
"Love your neighbor, even if they don't. Think like you, look like you, vote like you."
The message through the sign, Tina hopes, is kind of like when a song gets stuck in your head.
So I'm hoping that maybe if you got this positive thing in your head, maybe it'll resonate someday when somebody says something mean or ugly to you.
And for drivers,
we need all the love we can get in this day and age.
with 2 signs now in the books, both bringing smiles and being shared on social media, Tina says it's time to go out and find a third phrase to be painted on plywood. She also says she's going to keep this site at the T intersection a place for positivity and love.
One of the most inspiring women that I have ever come across, outside of work, inside of work, is certainly Miss Lee down in Gordonsville. Miss Lee contracted a virus that required doctors to amputate her arms and her legs. Yet her light shines brighter every single day because she considers herself lucky to be alive. She has no arms and no legs, and she cannot stop smiling. She doesn't ask, why me? She lives alone, and this is a person that I would love to put on a pedestal, because if we can draw just a little bit of inspiration from Miss Lee, we'll all be in a good place.
It's nice and quiet.
In the tiny town of Gordonsville,
Everybody knows each other and everybody helps each other out.
you won't find much hustle and certainly no bustle.
So you just relax and be at ease.
And that is just the way one American original likes it.
I love being outside. It's a breath of fresh air. It's a ray of sunshine, just like myself.
Tranisha Lee will tell you all about her favorite place if
You gotta keep up with me.
you can catch her.
I don't let no grass get me underneath my tires, as they say, because I'm always moving.
Born a paraplegic, she entered this world facing monumental odds.
I became paralyzed from the waist down.
But one thing you'll notice about the 36-year-old, she smiles a lot.
I let my good days outweigh my bad days.
In a wheelchair since she was 5, Tranisha overcame her disability and has thrived.
Didn't know anything else. Just knew I had to go through life and I had to make the best of it, because you can't cry over spilled milk. It's already done.
She was even diagnosed with cerebral palsy and had a kidney removed 3 years ago, but she remains determined to succeed.
Yes, and still am.
Tranisha rolled into the spotlight in 2012, competing in the Miss Wheelchair Virginia pageant and winning Miss Congeniality.
That's one thing you can't be, is ashamed of yourself. And that's one thing I wasn't. I wasn't ashamed of myself.
Leading a full life, Tranisha lives alone and has been working as a Walmart greeter since 2017.
From the time she was little, just in and out the hospital with different sicknesses, and she was always smiling.
Tanya Lee says her sibling does not know the meaning of quit.
Extremely proud. And I could take some lessons from my little sister.
But Tranisha's fighting spirit is facing its toughest test to date.
September the 30th, 2021, I'll never forget it.
Last fall, Tranisha fell seriously ill and was rushed to the hospital.
I was very sick to the point that my heart was only functioning at 25%.
Sepsis was coursing through her body, her organs failing. Near death, doctors said there was only one option.
All 4 limbs had to be amputated. It was either that or my life.
Tranisha awoke to her new reality.
This is my sister just a few days after her amputations.
Gone were the fingers she relied on so much.
And this is exactly what I said to myself. What am I going to do now? How am I going to live the life that I want to live?
She has asked, why me? But in true Tranisha fashion, she is choosing not to wilt in the face of adversity.
That crossed my mind many times. many a times. But I also ask myself, why not me? Because if anybody's strong enough that can handle this, it's me.
I see people fold for much less.
After nearly 3 months in a hospital in rehab, Trinisha has returned home, learning how to navigate life as a quadruple amputee.
Been there, done that. It's just something I feel like I'm going back through it again.
With the help of family and aides, she still lives independently.
She's a different type of person. She's a different kind of strong.
Trinisha also relies on her faith and her collection of angels.
They give me security and they also give me peace. They also give me hope.
The future includes writing her memoir and touring the country as a motivational speaker.
I'm not going to change because something else happened. I'm actually going to get better.
She's strong. She can get through it. She's going to get through this.
She is a small-town woman with big plans and an even larger message.
Whatever I was going through, I've always snapped out of it. And the smile just kept on being there.
Trinisha Lee is proving you can conquer anything life serves you.
I love being outside. It's a breath of fresh air. It just changes your whole mood.
No feet, no hands, no problem.
Nobody ever handed anything to me my whole life, so there's no point in starting now.
Thanks for watching the CBS 6 Original Storytelling Special Presentation.